to welcome. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Education Outreach Committee. I'm so happy you're here. I had a discussion earlier with Executive Chair April Dawson on whether or not to hold this meeting, and I went ahead and made the executive decision to hold the meeting because I wanted to keep our momentum going, even though we didn't have quorum. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Presley for our housekeeping.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Elhessen. I will start our housekeeping. This Education and Outreach Committee meeting will be on Zoom via teleconference and held at the California Commission on Disability Access headquarters, located at 400 R Street, Suite 312, Sacramento, California, 95811. Per Government Code 11123.5, teleconferencing meetings are allowed provided there's a primary physical location where a quorum of the commission or subcommittee will be present. The following committee members will be attending the meeting virtually: Commissioner Saray Sue Elhessen, Commissioner Hector Ramirez, Commissioner Ben Conway, committee member Zinat Hassan, and committee member Arnie Lerner. So for public comment on matters not on this agenda, it's taken at the beginning of the meeting. Public comments on matters on the agenda will be heard as the commission takes up agenda items for discussion. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Speakers who utilize translators to make public comment will be allotted no more than 6 minutes unless they utilize simultaneous translation equipment. CCDA is precluded from discussing matters not on the agenda. However, CCDA members may ask questions for clarification purposes. This meeting is being captioned and recorded. To assist in this effort, please state your first and last name each time you speak and speak loud and clear. The Stream Text Live captioning link has been included in the chat for your use, and staff can provide the link when asked. Public participants can use the raise hand function to alert the committee of when they would like to speak. And we will give an opportunity for public members who have called into the meeting, at which time they can unmute themselves. If you're attending this meeting via teleconference, please press *6 on your keypad to unmute or mute yourself. If you would like to alert CCDA, press *9 to telephonically raise your hand and staff will call on you. To use the raise hand function, please follow these steps. Using Zoom via web browser, first click on the item labeled reactions in the toolbar on the bottom center of your screen. After clicking reactions, a new window will show on your screen. At the bottom right of the screen, there will be a button labeled raise hand. Using Zoom via mobile device, click on the 3 sideways dots labeled More. The More option is in the toolbar on the bottom right corner of the screen. After clicking More, a new window will pop up at the bottom of your screen. Press Raise Hand. Please remember to mute yourself if you are not speaking in order to reduce noise. If you're having technical issues throughout the meeting and need assistance, please use the chat function to alert CCDA staff or email at ccda@dgs.ca.gov. And I will pass it back to you, Chair Dr. Elhessen.
Thank you. Thank you, Presley. Well, at this point, we'll go on to agenda item 1, which do our roll call. So Presley, I turn it over back to you to do that, please.
Presley, you're muted.
Hi, yes. All right, so I will start roll call. Chair Dr. Elhessen.
Present.
Commissioner Ramirez.
Present.
Awesome. Commissioner Leon Vasquez. Commissioner Ben Conway.
Barely back on time and present.
Thank you. Committee member Hassan.
Present.
Committee member Lerner.
Present.
And then committee member Simon. All right, roll call has been established. I will pass it back to you, Chair Elhessen.
Thank you.
Pardon me, Chair Elhessen, this is April. I just wanted to share with the group that under prior circumstances, we would be considered as having a quorum. The reason that we do not have a quorum today is because the majority of the body is not present in person. And so that is why we do not have a quorum, but we're all happy that you're here today participating in what we are able to do. Thank you.
Right, and for those of you who, I don't know, were on or not, but I had talked to April because I said, rather than canceling the meeting, I wanted for us to go ahead and meet. This is our last meeting for this year. And I wanted to keep the momentum going for our Committee on Education and Outreach. I think it's important. I'm hoping this will change in regards to allowing our continued virtual meetings, because believe it affects the integrity of our commission and our committees in regards to being active and showing that we're doing the work that was appointed for us to do. So with that, I'd like to know if there are any members of the public attending this meeting who wish to identify themselves.
There appears to be no indication in the chat.
Okay. So then we'll move on to item number 2 and approval of our minutes. However, I understand since we don't have a quorum, we will not be voting on that, but I hope everyone had a chance to review them. If there's any questions, please let me know regarding that. So we won't be doing this roll call, right, Presley? And then we'll move on to agenda item number 3. Are there any comments from the public? Okay.
Commissioner Chair Dr. Alhessan, I do not see any indication in the chat.
Okay. Hearing that none, then we'll move on to our 4th item for our meeting today is Disability Access Education and Revolving Fund. And I refer this down to April Dawson, our Executive Director.
Thank you, Chair Commissioner Dr. L. Heston. This is April. It's wonderful to see and hear everyone today. I just wanted to share an update about where we are with our Disability Access Education and Revolving Fund outreach partnership with the Division of the State Architect. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with the fund, I will give a brief overview of what the fund is about, since we have some new voices in the room today. And then I'll just talk a little bit about what we've done so far for outreach and what we're planning to do, and would love your feedback. So the Disability Access Education Revolving Fund is managed by the Division of the State Architect, and it was established by the California Legislature for the purpose of increasing disability access and compliance with construction-related accessibility standards. And the fund's purpose has 3 main objectives. The first one is to increase disability access and compliance with construction-related accessibility requirements at businesses and facilities that are open to the public through locally developed programs. And it assists local jurisdictions with hiring or retaining certified access specialists, or CASPs, to consult with the local agency, permit applicants, and members of the public on construction-related accessibility compliance, and to perform permitting and plan check services. And it also provides outreach and educational resources for facility owners and business owners to facilitate compliance with the ADA, the UNRU Act, and the California Building Code to ensure full and equal access to persons with disabilities. So I know that I have spoken at a prior meeting about the fund, but essentially what happens is that 90% of the municipality maintains the fund locally. And the main purpose, as I mentioned earlier, but to put in more layman's terms, is to ensure that certified access specialists are trained and maintained by the municipality, to make sure there's enough certified access specialists to advise building departments and people, business owners seeking permits, about how to make sure that their business is accessible to people with disabilities. There was a law passed in the prior legislative session that expanded the use of the fund, that would allow municipalities to give grants to businesses and establish other types of programming, such as grants, to allow businesses to utilize a portion of the fund for disability access compliant improvements. And there are some municipalities, such as the city of San Diego and others, who have been utilizing the fund in that way. But the main purpose is for retention and training of certified access specialists by that municipality. And so we're really excited to be partnering. And I just wanted to share that what you, I'll describe on the screen that there is a PDF with a QR code that talks about the fund. There's no images except for our logo on the top left-hand corner. It says CCDA, and it's our logo, which is the communal chairs in a circle that are red and blue. And there's also a QR code so that someone could go to the QR code and read more information from the website about the fund. And we have reached out to several municipalities across the state of California to offer to perform, to go to them and do presentations. We are planning a webinar in the near future, and I don't have a date for that yet, but we're getting that date set. So the Division of the State Architect, as well as CCDA, will be partnering on a webinar for municipalities to educate them on the use of the fund, to make sure that they know that the fund exists and what they're expected to do with it, and how that could help their community and how access is good for their community. And so we'll be doing a webinar, as well as we've already reached out to several municipalities and given them a copy of this PDF, as well as offered to host a webinar in their local community and also to do further outreach. So we're just now hearing back from municipalities that are interested in a presentation from us to talk about the fund to their staff at the building department and others. We've heard back from at least 2, and we're going to continue to reach out. And then we're going to go to the next phase and talk more to the chambers of commerce and other businesses. And of course, I'll be talking about our listening forums a little later on in the agenda, but once we go on the road to our listening forums and talk to communities, we'll also be bringing information about the disability access and education and revolving fund to those communities. So that's what we're doing, and I look forward to questions and suggestions. Thank you.
I have a question.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Have you reached out to San Francisco?
We have reached out to San Francisco. I know that we're on our outreach list, but we do need to go back and reach out again to the ones that we haven't heard back from. So I know that San Francisco is. So if you would like to connect me with someone in San Francisco to learn more about the fund and talk to them about the use of the funds, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. I've been working with our local municipality regarding this also. And the reason being, I've had 2 business owners reach out to me to who've been actually into litigation from, I want to call them drive-by. I don't know how else to put it, but the person never visited or entered the business, but yet is suing them for lack of access because just of what he saw on the outside. So they asked me if I would write a letter of support, even though they've gone through the CASP. One of them went through CASP and went through a detailed report, which I reviewed and really met all the requirements, which I thought was really impressive, considering he's a small mom and pop, lock and key type business. And so that was one of my questions is, how can we better support? And I think you're doing a great job, April, in regards to reaching out to our chambers. And I plan on doing so for our local municipalities as my role on education outreach for the commission. But I think it's also important that we educate, and I love that idea of our local businesses, cities. They don't even know about it when I approached our city. And I think the smaller, maybe rural cities who don't have an ADA coordinator or really have no idea about how to approach access, period, probably would need our help the most. And I don't know, in regards to size of cities, because you mentioned San Francisco, for example, and I know San Diego has been great in regards to access and what they do. But the smaller cities, how do we support them? The smaller municipalities who probably don't have enough in their local fund.
Thank you, Chair Dr. L. Hessen. This is April. That's a great point, and that's something that we've talked about internally about the fact that, you know, different municipalities have different needs, and the rural communities will have might have needs that look different than the larger communities, and vice versa. And so we're definitely taking a tailored approach to the presentations. Some of the communities that don't have access to Wi-Fi, or may not be able to host a webinar, we're planning to go in person, and we've offered that. We are also doing different ways of outreach, like calling versus emailing, and just asking, kind of similar to what we're doing with our listening forum model, is having the community set the table for what they need as far as what access looks like in their local community, and us not telling them what that should look like, but asking them, how do we tailor our outreach efforts to you? So I really appreciate you bringing that up. I also wanted to mention, I forgot to mention how the fund is generated, and it's generated by a $4 fee on each business license that's issued by a city or county. And there's also an option for collecting the fee on the issuance of a building permit if the local entity does not issue business licenses. So that's how the fund is generated, and 90% of it stays with the municipality, and 10% of it goes back to the division of the state architect for administrative costs, as well as for other programs such as partnering with us to advertise the fund, and help with education and outreach related to disability access compliance, related to CASPs, and related to access remediations.
Okay, great, thank you. Do we have any questions from our commissioners or members virtually right now? Hector, I see your head, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. This is Commissioner Ramirez. I definitely really want to support. I think I have heard from April before, plans, for example, in visiting some of the local chambers of commerce, in addition to the localities, definitely reaching out to the cultural and intersectional varieties that we have within our chamber of commerces. And I might have missed this, and I apologize. So I really wanted to support that, particularly for our Hispanic, Native American, Black nations, all of our great small business and larger business partners. But I had a question in case I had missed it, if this documentation was also available in other types of traditional language, or if there's an option for individuals to request it in a particular traditional language, so that it can be accessible to some of those partners that we have who still utilize or able to disseminate information better in our preferred language.
Hi, Commissioner Ramirez. This is April. I can answer that. Yes, we are planning to translate the materials, the PDF and the PowerPoint from the webinars into languages other than English. We're actually working. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but I could share a little early that we are finalizing a contract with a language translation and interpreting vendor. And once that's in place, we'll be able to translate our documents into languages other than English. So I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Ramirez. I see Zainat Hassan.
Thank you. Director Dawson, did I hear you correctly that you said there was some like some recent changes to the statute that expanded flexibility in what you can use it in? Like there's some jurisdictions, I think you said, who are using it for grants. Could you talk a little bit more about like what sorts of restrictions are on those grant programs?
Hi, Zenith. This is April. I'll speak broadly. What I do need to preface it with is that municipalities should speak with their city attorney and read the statutes and read the information we put out to decide if it fits. Since we are not involved in enforcement on how the fund is used, but I will share that AB 2164 did expand the language to allow for the fund to be used for access remediations, but that does not replace the fact that the fund's main purpose is for the training and retention of CASPs. but we are planning on collecting case studies to be published in the future and on our website about how different municipalities have used the fund successfully to stand up grant programs and what those look like. And whenever we receive questions, at least from the CCDA side, about how to utilize the fund, we try to partner and do a peer-to-peer model. And we refer a lot of those municipalities to the ones who have approached us and showed us what their grants have looked like, so that they can learn from each other.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the question, Zena. That's a good one. Any other questions from our commissioners before we go to our public? Okay, hearing none, do we have any in the public who would like to have a question or discussion on this item?
Commissioner Dr. Hesson, there appears to be no indication in the chat.
Okay, great. I wanted to ask one additional. I've been reading these that you have on screen. Is there a way that you can email this so I can forward it to our city manager as well as our public works department?
Yeah, of course. I'll send that over to you.
Yeah, that'd be great because I wanted to follow up with conversations with our local and my surrounding cities to discuss this for future implementation. All right, thank you. All right, if there's no further comments, I'll move on to agenda item number 5, which is our business checklist. And again, I will refer this to our executive director, April Dawson, to discuss. Thank you, April.
Thank you, Chair Dr. L. Hesson. And I believe that there might be, do we have a projection document for that, Presley? And if not, I can verbalize it. Thank you for reminding me if we do or not. But we are at a couple of, I believe it was our, I have to look because we are been going down the year so long. At our April 19th full commission meeting, the full commission voted for us to develop a business listing, and that will be a one-pager to educate our business community partners about access. And it'll expand on our accessible parking campaign and provide some snippets of information related to providing access and some do's and don'ts. And I'm really looking forward to that. We're working on before we can complete the business listing, we're working on in partnership with the Division of the State Architect, we're working on our definitions of certain accessible terms that we've been using in our legal portal. We learned through training recently that we need to change some verbiage in the way that we're presenting things such as accessible paths of travel, exterior routes. We need to make sure that we're properly classifying those. And so once we are able to finalize that, then we'll be able to complete the business listing, and then we will be presenting it at a future E&O meeting as well as a full commission meeting for further feedback and then to disseminate it to businesses. But we had a really great discussion at the April full commission meeting about what should be on the business listing, such as accessibility of restrooms, exterior paths of travel, a lot of the things that are being discussed in our accessible parking campaign and subsequent toolkits will kind of, we're going to condense it down and kind of create the business listing for that. So we're excited about that product and how it's going to help businesses understand more about their obligations in a fun and easy to read way. So we're looking forward to that. And that will also be translated into languages other than English as well. Thank you.
Thank you. That's great. Do we have any questions on this item from our commissioners or committee members?
There
No?
appears to be no indication.
Okay, do we have anyone in our public who's attending virtually who'd like to comment on this item?
Chair Dr. L. Hesson, there appears to be no indication.
Okay, thank you very much, Presley. All right. I think that's a great, what we're moving forward with. I think businesses need to feel it's a win-win approach. And I think that's the most important thing when we're creating this type of listing for or understanding and definitions. Because I don't want, or not me personally, but we don't want to be perceived as a burden or a threat to businesses in regards to accommodations for people with disabilities. And unfortunately, that seems to be the message right now from what I'm hearing among certain businesses, especially in my community. So hopefully we could turn that around with this. Thank you. So move on to item number 6, webinar with Pacific ADA update and discussion. So again, April, could you please fill us in on this? Thank you.
Absolutely. Hi, this is April, and I'm excited to talk about a partnership that we have launched with the Pacific ADA Center. The Pacific ADA Center is another really wonderful organization that works with the public to educate them on the Americans with Disabilities Act and provides technical assistance to businesses and people with disabilities. They have a hotline as well as a website, and they do similar work that we do. And so I met with their now Deputy Director, Jan Garrett, and talked with her about how we could partner more closely and share resources and build our stakeholder groups with one another and build each other's capacity. And one of the things that we have come up with is we are planning a series of webinars in partnership with the Pacific ADA Center. So the first one is going to be on business access and customer service, and it will be launched in October in time for National Disability Employment and Awareness Month, or NDEAM, for those of us kind of in the know about the to use an acronym. But we're going to be launching that at the beginning of October. We're going to be finalizing the flyer and starting to advertise that event. It's tentatively scheduled for October 2nd at noon. So it's scheduled to be more of a lunch and learn model so that businesses will be able to attend. We're also going to be switching up the time to see if for subsequent webinars, if the noon hour works better or if the morning hours work better, because we've received feedback that mornings and noon as well as evenings tend to work better for businesses than in the middle of the day. And it's going to be targeted to anyone, but particularly to businesses. So we're going to start with the customer service aspect of it. And then we're going to build on it and have more specific, more in-depth technical conversations about different aspects of the law and compliance. And what we're planning on inviting a variety of dynamic speakers. We want to make sure that the speakers are representative of the community at large and are diverse and have a lot of diverse perspectives and interests related to access, so that we're able to give presentations that touch on the large cross-section of people that we're serving. And we also want to make sure that who we bring to these webinars to train also are people who are business owners themselves who could talk about best practices that they've learned as well. And so it's going to be a combination about learning about the law and compliance, but also in a way that it could be peer-to-peer, so that we can bring people who are actually doing it and the challenges that they've had, and also making sure that our speakers reflect the community that we're trying to serve. So if you have ideas for the development of future webinars and for this partnership, we'd love to hear them, and I can pass them on to the Pacific ADA Center at our next planning meeting. But I'm really excited about this partnership and the fact that we're going to be combining forces to reach more businesses and educate them about the law and compliance and how it's good for business, and will help them build their customer base and do the things they want to do. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Executive Director Dawson. I just wanted to add one thing regarding the training. Well, actually, two things. One of them, are we going to be putting it on our social media and of course in our website for visibility and access to view? And the second one is part of the training. Are we going to be talking about 508 as part of that? Because many businesses do market, have an online website for their business. Or are we gonna do that as a separate training, I guess?
Thank you, Chair Dr. El Hessan. This is April. For the first part of your question, yes, we do plan to record the trainings and post them on our website. And hopefully in the future, we'll also have a YouTube channel in the future to be able to post things like that. And I'll share that at the next agenda item. But definitely our website. And that'll give people the ability to also share it out. There's a way to post from our website if people have their own Facebook and other tools for social media to be able to get that out there. And we can also share it through the DGS channels also, which is another way that you could pull from their site and send it out using your channels. So it will be publicly available. And to answer your question, yes. And so for those of you who may not know, 508 refers to the requirement that that entities that receive federal funding have accessible websites. So we will be doing as part of our AB 2917 compliance, we are going to be educating businesses this year and in the subsequent years about business access compliance related to websites. We have talked to the specific ADA about potentially doing that with our webinar series, but we are going to be doing that as standalone projects too. So we are planning a webinar module in the future related to business access and websites that's in development, and we are planning to have a toolkit, but we're still talking internally about what those products are going to look like. So they're in development, and I'll share more at a subsequent meeting. So far we've solidified the first webinar, and the other webinars we're planning to have them. We've discussed having them quarterly with each other, and having a series of them that build on each other. So I'll definitely bring up the idea of having one of them be a website training. But there will be, regardless, CCDA is going to put something out before the end of the year related to website training.
Okay, great. Just a follow up to the marketing piece. I was talking about also at the front end as far as advertising for people to attend. So I think, so we're using our social media and.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Yes. Yes, we will. This is
The other part was great too, but I just wanted.
Thank you. Yes, we will be marketing that on our website and our social media. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Do we have any questions from our commissioners and committee members on virtual at this point regarding the?
This is Commissioner Ramirez. I just definitely wanted to just go back to the Pacific ADA webinar. It's a really recognized, publicly aware resource, and so I'm really glad that we're able to partner with them and really highlighting and uplifting the visibility of the commission.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, this is the committee member, Hassan. Yeah, I was going to make the same comment. When I was new to the practice of ADA law, Pacific ADA Center was like one of the places where I went to learn what I was supposed to be, what this new area of law is that I'd be practicing in. So this is a very exciting partnership, especially the possibility of having this be quarterly and ongoing, because they really do simplify some very complicated areas of law in a way that's accessible for people. So this is very exciting. Thank you for working on this.
Welcome.
Great, thank you so much for the input too. All right, so do we have any questions from our public who are listening in?
There appears to be no indication in the chat.
Okay, great, thank you so much. Okay, hearing none, I move on to our agenda item number 7, which has to do with CCDA social media presence. Again, I'd like to refer it back to our director, April Dawson.
Thank you, Chair Dr. El Hessan. This is April. I just wanted to share an update that a few meetings ago I shared that The Department of General Services is entering into a pilot with the California Commission on Disability Access to allow us to have our own social media channels. And so currently the way that CCDA gets information out is mainly through our website and word of mouth, emails and mailings. And so one of the things that was brought to me when I was first appointed, and that I had in my mind as well, was that it would be really great if CCDA had their own Facebook and Instagram and YouTube channels and LinkedIn channel to be able to post things independently, so that we could have our own, have it under our own marketing and our own, still be a part of DGS, because that's where we're administratively nested, but have our own identity. And also that would help us, because a big part of our mandate to exist is to do education and outreach. And so we had a lot of really successful conversations with DGS, and they're going to enter into a 6-month pilot with us. Currently, where that is at is that I'm finalizing with staff a draft of a social media plan. We're going to be submitting a 6-month and 1-year social media plan to them. And then once that's approved, we'll be able to have given the passwords to our own social media handles. And then we'll be able to partner with them for the next 6 months and see how successful that was. And I expect it to be very successful. And we will be able to increase through that our ability to reach out to more businesses with our own unique voice. And so very excited about that. So it's been approved, and I need to submit the report to them and our plan for social media for the coming year. So if you have ideas and thoughts on what should be included in that, I'm happy to hear them. And I'll be rounding that out within the next couple of days. And then once that's approved, we'll go live with our new channels. It's going to start with Facebook and Instagram. And then my hope is that we'll be able to have a YouTube channel in the future to be able to live stream our meetings, as well as be able to post trainings, such as the ones I talked about earlier. And I'm hoping we could also have a LinkedIn channel at some point as well, so that because I've noticed that a lot of colleagues of mine utilize LinkedIn to be able to let their colleagues, especially in the business community, know what's going on out there and what event, and we can advertise our listening forums and our one-pagers and our webinar trainings on those channels as well. So looking forward to being able to have the ability to do that in the future.
That's
Thank you.
great. I'm
And
excited.
this is Commissioner Ramirez. I'm really exciting. And I actually wanted to really come back to that point that you mentioned about LinkedIn. LinkedIn would be their primary place for this commission to be at, given that it is a business sector. And as you're right, that's actually where a lot of the discussions are happening. Facebook is not necessarily for that. It's a good platform. Instagram, not really. So I think you go where you want to go with where people are, and the business people are primarily in those sectors, learning best practices, consultants, really reaching out about business ideas. And so that's a place that I would really encourage you to probably invest more than the other platforms, given that that's where you will find a lot of the populations that you're seeking, and that's really more conducive to what the work that you're doing, and because that's why I see a lot of that work actually than Facebook and Instagram. But I appreciate the Facebook and Instagram. They're really nice social networks. Threads is fantastic. I'm getting to know it. But as we go through, as you begin this particular project, I think it's a really great opportunity to begin to model, not only just to share, but to model best practice and accessibility in social media settings, which is still like a highly needed conversation. So I'm really excited. I like social media, so I really appreciate this. Communications is one of my passions.
Thank you, Hector. Do we have any other commissioners or committee members who'd like to have a comment or suggestion on this item? Social media presence. Okay, hearing none, do I have any in the public who would like to make a comment or suggestion?
Chair Dr. Helsing, there appears to be no indication in the chat.
Thank you so much. All right, then I'd like to move on to agenda item number 8, which is our accessibility parking campaign. I'd like to turn this over to April Dawson, our executive director. Again, thank you, April.
Thank you, Chair Dr. Hessen. This is April. I just wanted to give a quick update on where things are at with the accessible parking campaign toolkits. And I know that we're all anxiously waiting for when that is going to enter the outreach phase. So we are currently still in the internal editing phase, but we have a meeting with the consultant that is helping us with that next week. And we'll be able to, in the coming weeks, after I've had a chance to have that planning meeting with them and talk to them about the edits that they've made to the final draft, I will be able to call back the work groups that work so hard, the business owners and operators and the construction industry work groups that work so hard for almost a year on those toolkit drafts. And then I will be reconvening them to take another look at the newest draft that came out of the edits from the Division of the State Architect and the Office of Public Affairs to finish those up. And then once the work groups has another chance to look at those edits and finalize them, we'll be able to do some more internal finalizing. And then send it back to the Division of the State Architect for approval, as well as the DGS Office of Public Affairs for approval, and then before the Commission for approval. My hope is that we'll be able to have the drafts submitted to the full Commission. We'll have something for the Commission to look at in October, but the final draft won't be voted on until January. So I know that that's a little bit, that's a few months behind from what we had originally thought. However, we're still on track to have those toolkits out to comply with AB 2917 legislation. And we are going to be looking forward to the 2024 outreach phase. So I'll be coming back at the first meeting of 2024, the first education and outreach meeting in 2024, to share the finalized toolkits and to talk about how we're going to actually take that to market and educate businesses about accessible parking, as well as exterior passive travel and accessible routes. And also we are going to be doing more. By then we'll have more information about how we're educating businesses about websites and access compliance related to websites too. So a lot of work is being done behind the scenes, and I'm looking forward to all that hard stakeholder engagement and staff work and exterior and internal partner work paying off to actually get that out to market. So that's where we're at. Thank you.
That sounds great. Thank you. That's exciting. You're right. I wanted to make a comment. Has anyone, including our CCDA staff, seen the video from the Spinal Cord Association on parking? Has anyone seen that video? It's and I took the address is spinalcordassociation.org. They have this really good video about parking spaces and actually educating the public and not taking the space. And they have a cartoon of a man in a wheelchair, and he's trying to get out of the building, and someone goes, "Let me help you," and he points them to the stairs versus the ramp. And then there's also a picture of someone taking a disabled parking space who's not disabled. And then they're, again, they're iterating the importance of access for people with disabilities. I thought it's a great video. So I don't know if they have a website that you can see it on. I haven't researched it from that far, but it was on, I think, not only our local, I think maybe local, maybe national too. But I think it's a good complement to what we're doing. And I think it really brings home the message in regards to the importance of our parking campaign, especially for businesses. So with that, I turn it over to our commissioners or any committee members would like to make a comment or suggestion at this point. Okay. Again, I'd like to reach out to our public members who are attending, not members, excuse me, our public who are participating. Any questions or suggestions? Okay, I'm hearing none. I'm going to move on to our next item, which is our listening forums, item number 9 on the agenda. And again, I'd like to turn it over to our executive director, who's been instrumental in making this happen. Thank you, April.
Thank you, Chair Dr. L. Hessen. Hi, everyone. This is April. And I just wanted to say how excited I am that we are launching our listening forums for 2023 and 2024. Our first listening forum since prior to COVID, so since 2019, will be taking place in the city of San Jose on Thursday, August 31st from 3 to 5 p.m. You can find more information on our website, or if you email me or CCDA, we can send you the flyer. I wanted to let you know a little bit more about it. I know I've shared it at prior meetings, but we're getting closer. So the purpose of the forum is to bring at a regional level the city and county, as well as small businesses and members of the disability community, to talk about access, to talk about how access it is or is not working in the community and ways to improve upon that. And our hope is that attendees will come away with a deeper understanding of their compliance obligations, but also how, beyond that, how access is good for business. And we're really excited that this forum is happening. And we're planning on this being the kickoff to several other regional forums that we'll be hosting over the next 3 years to talk about disability access compliance. And we're really taking a regional approach to this. We're really tailoring each forum to what our community partners have identified as important to them. So we're not just taking a boilerplate and going from different parts of the state and presenting the same forum. We're really working with our city, county, disability and business partners in each community that we plan to go to, and tailoring a forum and subsequent events to that community. So in the city of San Jose, I know the city is planning on talking about the grant program they're launching to help small businesses with disability access improvements. And I know that the county's Office of Disability Affairs is going to be talking about what they're working on in the county of Santa Clara as far as disability access and their programming. We're also going to be having on the panel a representative from the Division of the State Architect, the city, as well as we're going to be having a small business representative on the panel, as well as the executive director of the Silicon Valley Independent Living Center on the panel. It is going to be moderated by Commissioner Shapiro from CCDA. So we're really thankful for her. And it's sponsored by the City of San Jose, the California Business Properties Association, and CCDA, with support from the County of Santa Clara Office of Disability Affairs, and also the Silicon Valley Independent Living Center and the Division of the State Architect, among other partners. And so we're just really excited. We are expecting a full house. We're not quite to capacity yet, so there's still time to register, but we're nearing capacity. So if if you're a business or a person with disabilities in the Silicon Valley region, we highly encourage you to register. I also want to let you know that there will be American Sign Language as well as captioning, and we will also have on site, in addition to those accommodations, we're also going to have language translation. So we will have Spanish, Mandarin, and Vietnamese translation on site as well. So if you have those needs and you haven't signed up, go ahead and sign up, but that it'll also be integrated and baked in as part of how we're doing the event. So that'll be there regardless. So we're really excited about that. And we're still finalizing the plans for forums in the coming year. So if your community is interested in us putting on a community forum with you, you can reach out to me, and I'd love to have a conversation with you. And in the coming weeks, we'll be able to share the list of the other communities that we're going to starting in 2024. But this is really something that we're trying to do to really take a regional approach to our work, and to really see how CCDA could build the capacity of municipalities to help the small businesses in their particular area, and how we can also bring stakeholders together and recognize that we're more alike than we're different, and build relationships and partnerships that can increase access. So we're really excited really excited. So I hope that you'll be able to join us in San Jose on August 31st from 3 to 5 it'll be taking place in the wing rooms at San Jose City Hall. And you can go to our website for the registration link. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much. Any questions or suggestions from our commissioners or committee members?
This is Commissioner Ramirez. I think that's a great idea. You know, April, as you were describing this, you know, we talk about visibility, you know, and education. My toddlers just started school, and they're like exploring the world. And we were going to one of our local gathering places, and they were like, "There's a ramp, yeah!" And they're like, "Oh yeah, this is like a great opportunity." I mean, I'm not in a great word. I always like to be like young people, like in special education or special children or children with disabilities, coming to events that this commission puts together, and it's like, oh look, you know, ideas for businesses, or just that particular idea. You know, I think, you know, I don't know, I'm just so excited about the work that you're doing, and that just came to mind. You know, like the school children's coming to see the commission as they're doing it. Oh, look what they're doing, like that sort of thing, because they are customers too, and they'll be business
Yes.
owners. Their family members will be business owners. So.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. I love that enthusiasm actually from our youth, because they're our future leaders in regards to advocacy on disability. And that's one of my goals as a school board member, is to really nourish and support our students with disabilities to learn to become their own advocates. So yes, great. Thank you for that comment. Anyone else like to share or make a comment at this point from our commission or committee members? Okay, seeing none, move on to our public who is attending. Anyone in the public who's attending virtually or on the phone that would like to make a comment or suggestion, or in regards to our upcoming listening forum, August 31st in San Jose?
Chair Dr. Alhassan, there appears to be no indication in the chat.
Okay, I see that. I just have one comment I would like to make. It is going to be videotaped, right, April?
Thank you for that question, Chair Dr. Alhassan, because that reminds me of something I didn't mention. This particular listening forum is not going to be videotaped, just because we didn't want to discourage attendance. Since the purpose of it is to make sure that small business owners feel comfortable about talking about the challenges they've had to access. We didn't want to videotape it and have that discourage people from coming, because we received information that might happen. So other communities might feel differently, but we didn't want it to be a barrier. But we'll be able to have other things on our website that'll be trainings that'll help businesses with similar information that they're going to glean from the forum. But I will mention that you reminded me that this event will be in person only, but we are going to have an online version of the event taking place in the fall. We're finalizing the date. So for people who were not able to attend this meeting in person on the 31st, this isn't your only opportunity. There will be an online version of the forum. And again, we will have it in other communities. So if you didn't go to the one in San Jose, there will be one in your area coming up in the coming year also. So And that depending on the community, some of them will be in person only, but we'll have an online component afterward, or they'll be hybrid. It depends on the capacity of each community and then the needs of each community that we have a conversation with about whether it's hybrid all at once or we do in person and then an online. But there will always be an in-person and online version. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, hearing no other comments or suggestions at this point. And moving on to our future agenda items. And are there any future agenda items that our commissioners or committee members would like to see on our next meeting, which I guess will be in January 2024? Anyone in the public who would like to have something on our agenda item for the future?
There is no indication in the chat.
Okay. I would like to, I'm sorry, go ahead, Hector.
Oh, thank you. This is Commissioner Ramirez. I just had a question and perhaps clarification, April Dawson. I've been reading a lot and I'm getting questions about ADA testers and cases going to law and what a tester is. I wasn't familiar about that and how ADA testers come into place. And I know sometimes there's a conversation that they target small businesses, but that they're essential. And I've been just referring folks to your agency for clarification, but I wonder if perhaps that's at all something that other people are asking, or if it has any preview to what we do.
Commissioner Ramirez, yeah, we're following that court case related to testers and the hotel industry. There's a court case, and forgive me that I don't have the court case in front of me, that is trying to decide if testers have standing in those types of cases. So I know that's a really big issue for that industry as well as and other industries. Oh, it's Atchison versus Lawfer. Thank you, Zenith. We're following that, and when we receive inquiries about that through our public inquiries, we're referring them to entities that can answer more deeply about that question. And so that's what we're doing is and if you think that should be on a future agenda for the full commission, just let us know. And but we are monitoring that like we do other business related access cases. Thank you.
Is that something you'd like to have Commissioner Ramirez further discuss? Yes, okay. Could we have that added then for 2024? And also, April, for our public who's attending, could you, who might not understand what ADA testers are, could you please give a brief definition for our listening public?
Thank you, Commissioner Dr. L. Hessen. I can share my understanding of it, and if not to put Zenith on the spot, but if Committee Member Hassan would like to say something more legalese, I will gladly put her on the spot to do that. But my understanding of testers is people who go into businesses and other places to see how they're treated and to see if they can identify, access issues. So for example, when I worked at Resources for Independent Living, a lot of times our consumers, our clients who have disabilities would be asked by the local housing authority to be testers. So they would go to a public housing entity as an example, and they would pose as somebody wanting to be a renter, and they would see if they were discriminated against. And that was a way to see how in the field disability access was working. And that's just one example. Committee Member Hassan, did I do okay?
This is Zenith. Yes, that was a great explanation. The one thing I would add is this lawsuit is about tester standing in the context of disability access, but tester standing is not unique to disability cases. The sort of historical context where this became very common is after the Fair Housing Act was passed. and there was a need to increase enforcement of anti-discrimination laws based on race. So the idea is like, you know, it was very difficult for a lot of people of color to enforce fair housing laws because housing providers who discriminated knew they weren't supposed to be open about the discrimination. So the idea is you would have a white person go and apply and sort of test whether or not, you know, whether or not someone was in compliance, and kind of compare the white tester's experience to a Black applicant's experience to see whether the housing provider was actually following laws. So it has like a very long history within the world of civil rights, even outside of the disability access world. I can also offer for Commissioner Ramirez, or for anyone here, there's been quite a lot of amicus briefs filed in this case. I'm sure, you know, it's quite a controversial issue, and there's a lot of filings on both sides. There's some really good briefs out there that I think kind of clarify, like tease out some of the more complex issues. So if you'd like, I'm happy to send you some of those if you'd like a broader perspective on like what people are saying about this topic.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zena. It's great information. Okay. Any other questions or comments on this from our public members now that you have a different definition? Not different, but clarification, excuse me.
Commissioner Dr. Heston, there is no indication in the chat.
Thank you, Preston. All right, our last agenda item. I guess we take roll in regards to adjourn our meeting. Presley? Oh, do I need a motion? I'm sorry. Can I have a motion? Can I have a motion to adjourn our meeting, please? And I see Arnie. And I second. Is that you, Hector? I'm sorry, Mr. Commissioner Ramirez.
Yes, I second. This is Commissioner Ramirez.
Okay, thank you. You got that, Presley? So we have Commissioner Lerner, and then for the motion to adjourn our meeting, and second by Commissioner Ramirez. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for attending. I think it was a great and informative meeting. I appreciate your participation. I know this committee is very important to me personally, and also as a commissioner. I value my role, and I appreciate you taking the time to be here and supporting our education outreach committee. So thank you. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good
Yeah.
day.
Bye.
You all.